I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence, then let them in, chalk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, how to stay on the go. I can play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me, then I double up again, none of their knows, none of them cold. They just got lucky but never adapted, so I'm to the one if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close, I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat before we ever spoke, I'm ready for smoke. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything.
I'm right about meow, so we are live, live and direct.
I got a fucking bone to pick with you. We kind of talked about it the other day, bro.
Okay.
When you were here Friday, right?
Okay, what is it?
The week before, you came over the week before and you gave me a fucking edible, bro, and then you just left me here.
I might have. I was
stuck in the house in the chair, and it took me like 20 minutes to decide not to call you, to be like, why the fuck did you give me that whole thing? I ate the whole thing and I was stuck in the house, bro. I was stuck, man. Like, this motherfucker, he got me.
What do you mean? What do you mean by stuck? Like you literally couldn't move, like you couldn't leave the house?
You just just high as shit, where you're just like, you're overthinking too much. You're like, should I go do that? No, I can't do that. That type of stuff where you're just like, I'm not leaving the house.
Listen, I want you to understand that it was all love. You know that. And also, you got to understand this. I am not an avid person who does any kind of drugs whatsoever.
Right.
So I had no idea what effect it would have on you. And so I and then I learned. And then later that day I learned what it would do to me, and I was like, wow, like that's how Coach must have felt that night.
Oh yeah, I was gone. I was
melted.
Gone. I was sitting here, just sitting, bro. I didn't do nothing until it wore off like 5 in the morning, bro. I was up until like 5, and then I started actually doing things. I was just mellow.
I woke up the next day, bro. I woke up the next day still like, what's going on? Where is reality? Where is the floor? Where does my body meet the floor? You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to figure it out. I couldn't hear shit. They call it deaf. It was deaf, like Cat Williams would say. It wasn't deaf, it was deaf. I couldn't hear what nobody was saying. Like, some people be talking to me, I'd be like, what?
Yeah, those edibles ain't no joke, man. You gotta know who it is that's making them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, to be fair, he did say not to eat the whole thing.
Oh man, because I can't remember. I was a little tipsy too because I was at a cookout earlier and he got me bent, and then so I thought I usually ask when somebody hands me this, what's this? Like, how much and just take a piece of it. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, fuck it. I ate the whole thing. I'm eating the whole thing, and I'm like, where's Dev? Where's Dev? Probably like 2 hours later. Like,
you thought I was still there?
I thought you were still here, man.
It's like, where's he at, bro? Like, where'd he go?
Like, did you go to the store, man? You went to the store and shit, yo?
Yeah, right. I had to go pick something up, man. Had to go pick up some chicken or something, man. That's usually what I'm on. So what's new? What's popping? I see you're in a drum band now.
Oh yeah, I've been rocking with the drums all day, bro.
Yeah. What are those? What are those actually?
They're the clips for like those. You slide them up for like book reports and business papers and shit. You know how you put the plastic over it and you just slide this up the back of it that holds it in place. That's what these are.
I think I understand what you're saying. I don't know if I've seen them, like the binder, like the
binder.
The binder clips. Okay.
Yeah, to hold the report together. They're now my drumsticks. Yeah. I'm taking them everywhere I go for like the whole week and just start playing drums.
Right. You're gonna go pop up downtown and just like when you walk into the lady's store and she's like, all right, that'll be this much. You just start like banging the drums on her head like boom 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 boom.
I'm gonna give her a drum solo right there. Like, what's popping? Damn, it is hot in here. I turned the freaking fan on. But yeah, so what's been popping with you? Anything new? Any church announcements, as they say?
Well, yeah, for starters, I want to say everybody that's out in the chat right now, what's going on? We love y'all. If you want to drop some chats in here, tell us what you got going on. We feel that love, bridging the gap. We are here, Coach and Dev, you know who it be. And for second off, I'm in the process of moving, my man. And I don't even know where I'm moving to, but I'm moving.
You don't know where you're going, but you're moving.
I'm moving. I
Okay.
gotta move. But moving is, I've done it all my life, and honestly, I'm so sick and tired of it. Putting everything in boxes. Although it's nice, though. There's a part of me that feels like I want to get a fresh start and just kind of get rid of everything I own. Because I'm so, like when you move, that's when you know how much junk you have. Like how much trash and garbage and things you never wear and all. Because you'll be looking through clothes like, I never wear this. And then you'll lie to yourself until you're going to wear that shirt. And you're like, when did I wear this? I wore this maybe one time. Damn, come live with me, Austin said. Come live with me, he said. Okay, go ahead.
1 sec, Jeff.
Austin, I will gladly move down to Texas with you. Hey, Austin, I saw you got your what was it? You not graduated, but you got your certification for what was it? Was it for the dog training stuff or what was it for?
My neighbor was knocking at the door. I was like, "Yeah, it's showtime," and they acted like they weren't gonna stop, so I had to go be like, "I got a show to do here. I'll get back to you here in a second.
Yeah.
Calm down. Is everything okay?"
Right, yeah. Is everything all right? Yeah, man. We're wondering where the beer's at for the Steelers game.
Oh, that's an interesting story. Like my neighbor the other day, I see him all the time. Never talk to him. You know me. I just say hey and keep it pushing unless somebody says something. So he talked to me a little bit and he was like, "Hey man, can I ask you a question? I've been wanting to ask you for a minute. I just didn't want to offend you." I'm like, "Shoot, buddy. As long as you know what I mean. If it gets out of, I can't guarantee you that anything's gonna happen if you get out of control. But
right,
nah, he was just like, hey man, could you just explain to me about what goes on in the black community? What's the issue? What's the issue with the BLM and all that, or BLM? And I broke it down to him, gave him a couple things to go research and stuff like that. And I seen him the next morning. While I was looking for these kids, I send the kids to the freaking store in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
They're gone for like an hour. The store's right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know where the store's at by my house, right?
Right, yeah, right.
When I go looking for them, like where are they at? You know what I mean? I find them at the basketball court down there where we go. The basketball court?
Oh, yeah, right there by the church.
That's in a totally different direction, you weirdo. You could have you walked past my house and threw it on my porch. What are you doing? So anyway, back to that. I see him and he's like, hey, man, I was up all night. I researched some of that shit you gave me. And he, just got enlightened. And he was like, hey, man, I didn't know none of this stuff like in depth was going on. I don't think I would have known unless I asked, and I was like, that's the best way to find out, information and stuff like that. It's just to ask. So he said, I've seen a lot of things that really disgust me, man, that's going on in this country. And he said, I looked into it. He said, I just didn't take everything on face value. I researched it. I looked into it, double checked it, did all that. And he was like, I came up with the conclusions. There's some fucked up shit going on in the black community. And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, and I was like, well, listen, I wouldn't expect somebody to know, unless you're in that community, unless you know people from that community and something like that. And he was like, well, yeah, I through going through that, I see a lot of things even in my family and friends that have to change because I didn't realize it is so normal to us. Some of them, maybe the jokes you know what I mean? The in the house jokes that you're not, not to say in front of people,
right,
but you say, around your people, those type things. He said that stuff's got to change. And he's like, well, what can I do to help? And I said, well, you're doing it right now.
Yeah.
That's all you can do is ask and put an honest effort to try to understand what it really is. So that was pretty.
He put the effort in, and I appreciate him for that. I mean, did he really need to go look through could he kind of taken some people's word for it? Probably. But I appreciate him for going to look into it and trying to figure that stuff out. I mean.
Yeah, that was the main thing. And he's like, well, I'm just going to, I'm going to, have some talk with some people and figure some things out. Had a beer with him yesterday, watched a little bit of the game with him and dipped out, just got introduced to those people around there and just let them know what I was about,
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much it was just one of those things. One person at a time as I see it, you know what I mean? On my level, it's just like, if you ask, I'm going to answer. I'm going to let you know, as long as you're not being condescending and trying to be like, oh, I got you moment. Because there's no telling where that's going to go. You know what I mean? There's no telling where that's going to go. So that was pretty cool. What else? What else went on with you over the weekend? Anything?
Nope.
You
Raiders
said you
got
were
a.
in a
Well,
relationship.
oh, I was in a relationship. I'm not in a relationship.
Why would you do that?
Right. See, it was funny. Was I was having a BS session, and
Mhm.
we were talking about successes and all this jazz, and then also relationships and whatnot. And we were talking about and I was like, man, I was like, bro, I've been single for the longest. And but I've been seeing the hustle, like working and doing all this stuff and trying to make a living for myself, doing what I love for the longest time. And I said, maybe it's just time for me to make a commitment. like no more women. Like it's me and the hustle, and then maybe a couple years down the line, maybe a couple months, something, I don't know, maybe we'll make it an open relationship. And that's it for the rest of my life. It's me and the hustle, and then if some other girl tries to show up and she could be, but like she has to be with the
Gotta be
hustle.
third wheel.
Yeah, she has to be. No, we're polyamorous. We're equal partners in
Oh,
this.
yeah. Okay.
We're all equal partners in this, right? So
You're
basically,
married to
point
the
blank
game.
period. The hustle, me and her. That's just how it has to go now. It's
So
gonna be.
are you staying abstinence through this time? No, don't even try it. Are you? Are you? Come on, that would be big news. If you weren't, that would be some big news right there. Are
All
you gonna
right,
stay?
all right. I guess I'll have to stay abstinent too.
Oh, how long? I'm gonna hold you to that, bro.
He
You
said,
screwed up, bro.
how would
You
you
screwed up.
know? How could you
I'm
even hold me to it?
I'm gonna send the spies out and be like, every
He could be
time
like,
you
is
have
he
girl,
in there?
call him
It'll be abstinence for a year.
for a year. Abstinence for a year.
Abstinence for a year.
Seriously, that would be. I don't think I could make it, bro. I
Yeah.
don't think I could make it past 2 weeks, to be honest.
He said 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
He's like,
Two weeks
2 weeks
it's a
out.
wrap.
He's like 2 weeks. He's like, listen, I can't do it. Take me out. I'm done. I give up. You know what I mean?
Can't do it.
You can take a lot of things from Coach. You can take his pride. You can take that, but you can't take his WAP. He needs his WAP.
Whap. Yeah, but I've read a lot of books. A lot of people say that that's one thing to get on track. If you want to get on track, you take that out along with the like alcohol, drugs, and eating bad, and exercise. That's one of the
Eating
things.
bad is probably the thing I couldn't give up. I love junk too much, man. I love carbs. I just Edward Earhart says, you're seriously not committing to abstinence? No, I am. You just heard me. I'm committing, man.
He's committing.
I'm
No,
committing.
I'm not. Don't put me on that.
Coach is like, don't put me on that. He's like, I'm not. Yeah,
Don't
but
put me on that.
man, junk food, man. Oh, potato chips. Whew. It's just me and my endo. I forget what it is, an ecto, endomorph, whatever kind of body type. I just like my body likes carbs, and my metabolism like just
Well, yeah,
turns them out.
yeah, it's not a good thing. I got told that the other day because I you take my yearly check. I'd make them check everything, blood, everything, and they were like, "Hey, man, you need to like lay off the cheese." That's what they told me. They're like, they asked me a couple questions, and I said, and cheese was the overall. You know what I mean? It's like you need to lay off the cheese.
Man, cheese, bro. If someone looked at me and said no more cheese, I'd be over it. I'd be like, no. I'd be like, you know what? All of a sudden, I don't need your medical advice. I think I'm good. You clearly don't know what's good for me. I know what's good for me, and it's cheese.
I kind of looked at her like that, but that's my hot doctor. My doctor's hot, yo. I told her back in the day when I first met her, yo, I was on one. I don't know if I knew you then.
Yes, you did. You told me this story a long ass time ago. I do remember this. Go ahead.
Yeah, I told her I'd ruin her life for 6 months and shit, and she wanted to hang out. She looked at me like, you are crazy. From that point on, that's all we do. As soon as she gets in there, she gets straight to the point, and then we just fucking, bust on each other and have fun with it. You know what I mean? Enjoy life. She's married. She's just cool. She's just one of those people you can have fun with that ain't all stuck up or believe that they're higher because they're a doctor. She's just cool as shit.
Right.
I told her one time when we're out, when I make, we're gonna go out one time. You bring your husband, I'll bring, you know what I mean? We'll go to that place down in Utah.
Oh yeah. You of course you're gonna take her to Utah. I know why you're taking her to Utah. Got Justin Gower up in the chat says goat cheese is the best. Yummy. I've never had goat cheese. It's crazy. I live out in rural PA, man. Like that's where I'm from, and like
Got a thing out
never
there?
had goat cheese. Never. I mean, they sell goat cheese. They got all kinds of cheese, but I've never had goat cheese before.
I'm just good old American cheese and some Swiss. I'm good, but I
Yeah.
eat way too much of it.
I want the cheese from the cow, and I don't want it from the tit of a goat. That's it.
You don't want
I
the
don't know.
goat?
Do they make almond cheese, like almond milk? Do they make almond cheese?
I don't know. It's a good question. I've never seen it in
I
my
don't
life,
know. I
but I'm
kind of want to look
sure
into it.
somebody did it. Hey, you
Justin's,
better hold that idea.
just like seriously try it. When I go to Red Robin again, I'll be like, hey, do you guys have the goat cheese for my burger? That's what
Goat
I'll
cheese.
ask them. You know what I mean? Because I'm not like, listen, I like cheese, but like I have to have it with something else. You can't just eat cheese raw. Like that's just gross to me.
Nah, I can eat cheese raw, bro.
Oh, coach. Like I
I can
love
just
cheese, but
grab
I just can't eat it raw. Like I can't just go, yes, just cheese, please and thank you forever and
it.
always.
Ain't much. I could only eat one like individual slice. I can't grab a piece of cheese and just start eating it. Nah, that's way too much. But yeah,
Mm.
that's wild. But those are the things that you got to, you know what I mean? When you get your mind right, when and not going back to the abstinence thing. I don't know, man. I would think if I was on something like I was preparing for something life changing, I think I could do it. I
Yeah,
think if
like
they,
if you're on the
yeah,
cusp of like,
this is it,
ascension.
and this is it. You have to make this. You have to do this to get there. Oh, no problem. You know what I mean? My Pornhub numbers would be through the roof, though. You know that those numbers would
To
be
be
through
up
the
the roof
roof.
to sustain. I don't know. Is that cheating? Justin Gower says he puts goat cheese on toasted baguette with a little tomato and a glass of white wine. My coworker just left my desk because I was eating steak with blue cheese. That's how you do abstinence.
Yeah,
Oh man. But anyway, let's
Jesus.
let's dive into the topics for tonight because we have several to talk about tonight. The biggest one I think that I want to talk about, well, you had brought to the table was the Netflix show or movie rather, Cuties.
Yeah, this is. I couldn't even watch it. I couldn't even watch the one that I think it was Melvin. Melvin posted it in
Mhm.
his thing, and that's where I first seen it. I heard something about it. Somebody said something, but I first seen the thing. I didn't even watch. I seen the first couple minutes of it, and I seen what it was and turned it off. I was like, this is bullshit. It's some French show over there. It's supposed to be like a comedy type thing. It's scripted,
Mhm.
but it's about this 11-year-old young lady that wants to join this twerk team. There's a twerk team, you know what I mean?
Right.
And the things that they're doing, there there's seriousness to it too because the mother of the or mother or grandmother it finds out about it and she's like going, what a grandmother or mother would do if they found out their 11-year-old was out twerking. So, but from my understanding of it is it's just over. It's too much. It's over the top. Like it's crazy. These kids are out here like twerking and doing sexually suggestive things and that at this age. And
Mhm.
I don't think that shit's appropriate message or not because I just don't see it. I just don't see the point of it. What's the point of that?
Right. So this is just something that I had done the research on when I was looking into this. So this movie is actually based off of a French director whose name is May Moana do Colli. I can't even do her name. Do Choli. Choli maybe? Choli sounds,
It's a woman. That's important. I didn't get to know that. Is it a woman or a man?
Yes, it's a woman who made the original film. It was a French film that was put in the Sundance Festival. But if you look at like the title card and the original like photo of it, it's a lot different. The whole premise of it is a lot different. It's less sexualized, and it's talking more about and it's actually talking about how she was sexualized as a child growing up, in the in that industry. So it's more it's less about all that sexual stuff, it's actually like an anti-sexualizing children's story. Whereas Netflix then picked it up and then it looks like they used the marketing appeal of sex appeal, pedophilia, which this is what I mean by I said the title for this is Netflix's Sus because it's weird to me. So they go out and they put together this documentary and stuff for like someone like Jeffrey Epstein, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they exploit the sexualization of children to help people to make people to not make people but encourage people of a certain persuasion, pedophiles or people on that spectrum, to watch that show because of the title and the cover, even though the cover of it was something completely and utterly different if you look at it. I think
I did see that part where they said Netflix switched it up because it was like at Sundance. It was played at Sundance. It did get some backlash there too, but Netflix took it to a whole new level. So are we saying that Netflix took that shit and redid it? They redid the whole thing, or is it still the original content?
I don't think that I'm not exactly sure because I haven't watched both of them, and the only way to do that would be to watch both of them. But all I
Right.
can tell you is just based sheerly off of the covers of the two films, one is definitely probably more than likely completely different. Just
Yeah.
because if you look at the titles, it looks like there's a totally different focus on both of the films. I just dropped in the chat, guys, a YouTube link if anybody wants to go check it out. That shows it's a YouTuber Vosh talking about the Cuties thing, and he's talking about how they're selling the ideas. Justin Garrett says I haven't watched a TV show for about a year now. Best decision I made. Yeah, Justin, I don't like TV shows either. I don't like watching TV at all, really. I don't watch Netflix. I mean, I have Hulu and stuff. I think I'll rewatch episodes of like King of the Hill, but I couldn't be bothered to watch new
I
TV.
use it sometimes. I watch TV sometimes. Not
Yeah.
a lot no more, but I watch it just to unwind, just to see what's going, just to get out of the same circle of things that I've been doing.
Yeah.
There's
Now
some,
that football's back, you don't have to.
yeah, football's back, baby. I'm ready to go. Steelers are on tonight. That's why we're shooting early, guys. Game starts at 7. So if it wasn't the first game, I would still be on at 7. You know what I mean? But if it's the first game of the season, I got to see everything. I got to see the kickoff through everything. So, So I don't know. Like you said, suspect. Yeah. What I think, my overall thing of this is that the more and more of this stuff that happens, that I think that these people in power positions are trying to normalize that shit. Like it's like we're saying about wearing a mask now. It's not that crazy no more, is it? You're just doing it naturally. So if you keep seeing something over and over, that's just natural thing that it's going to start being like, oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. You know what I mean?
Mike Lowther just popped up in the chat with his peaky eyes. He's looking in. He's looking in and seeing. What
do you think about it, Mike?
Yeah, what do you think about the Netflix show Cuties or movie? It's a movie. Regardless, though, like I said, I mean, it could be on the production side of things, but I mean, Netflix had to approve it. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's weird. Like, they're like covering their ass kind of. They're like, yeah, Epstein, like, here, let's make this documentary about Epstein, but then they're going to put out some stuff like this. Yeah. It's just, that's the stuff that gets me. It's like they're playing. You know what I mean? They're, what do they call it? Is it gaslighting? I don't think it's gaslighting. I'm trying to remember what the actual term's called. But basically, like, they're putting on the appearance of something else while doing the other thing. The French version, Netflix version, I can't imagine an okay version. The French version was actually, I believe, this is my conjecture, Edward, is the French version is actually addressing the idea of pedophilia in a manner where the women aren't being like subjugated, and if they are being subjugated, and it's to put awareness to that issue. Whereas this one looks like it's using the sexualization of children to sell streams to watch the show or the movie. So I think that's the difference for me anyway.
I don't know. It needs to go. Like we can't allow certain things. Now, like you're saying, if it was what I've seen, like, it's over the top, for even if it's just this woman explaining her story, if it's based on a true story, I think that I think it's just way too much. It's way too much for people to see, to have access to on Netflix. We have access to a whole bunch of things, but when we're saying kids to adults, now, I had somebody try to make that argument. Well, that's why we shouldn't say Cardi B's a role model. I'm like, I don't think anybody's saying Cardi B's a role model. I'm just saying she can do whatever she wants to do. She's a grown woman. And I don't think she's saying, hey, I just made this song. The kids are going to love it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
She's not saying that.
But again, like, I mean, if we're gonna talk about that, like that whole spiel again, I grew up listening to songs by like Eminem and 50 Cent, and they were talking about how they're like pounding bitches out at 11 years old. So you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Those people just drive me crazy because they want to make a big deal about, someone like Cardi B making that song, but then like fail to realize that they look back on the music they might have listened to growing up, like it was the same shit, on a different side of the spectrum.
If you go farther back, I watched a show on that one time too, where they were bringing all the lyrics up, and you're talking about grown men talking about 13, 14, 15-year-olds back in like in these songs that we sing. I mean, that you hear on the radio that are like won awards. They break the lyrics down and say, this is what they're saying right here. let's look at it. You know what I mean? And people just, choose not to look at those things. They choose to just like when it hops up into their face, but we can't act like this hasn't been going on for forever. I think why we're saying what we're saying now is because just like everything else, technology brought everything to full head. You can't really hide too much now. You know what I mean? So now they're trying to say, okay, we're not going to hide it. We're just going to try to normalize it.
Right. Yeah. Yep. And in the chat here, we have Edward Arhart said, this is commercializing the concept of sexualizing children to prevent sexualizing children. I may be lost, but I'm enjoying your guys' input. So, Edward, I think the best way to put this in a perspective for you from what I'm saying is this. So the original French film, what's the movie called where they talk about the Catholic priests raping the boys and stuff and the children? I forget what it's called. Is Will Smith in it? Who was the guy who was in that? No, Will Smith was in Concussion. I can't. Regardless, there was the movie about they were trying to stop the sexualization, or they were trying to uncover the.
Keaton was in it. I remember that.
Yeah, movie, yeah, they were uncovering the sexualization or the rape scandal that was happening in within the Catholic Church. Yeah. And that is a very serious movie. It's disturbing. It's talking about some very disturbing things. If I don't know if it depicted a scene of that obviously happening. But if it was talking about that in the context of that movie, it's talking about in a sense that, hey, this is real. It makes you feel, it makes you hurt, like when you see it or hear it or whatever, obviously not like showing, oh God, I wouldn't even dare. But I mean, obviously just the idea of it makes you just, and that's what the film like that could have been doing. Granted, I have not seen either film, so I'm not saying that is how they're both represented. But my hunch is based off of what I've been hearing and how I'm seeing it, based on how the marketing in the portrayal of the films is that the Sundance Festival one, the original French version of this film, was trying to use this as a way to show awareness to that issue, whereas this one looks like it's trying to be overly sexualized. Because the other film wasn't overly sexualized. From what I see, it has class and whatever else, and this one is like girls in twerk uniforms, like skimpy strippers outfits.
Bro, they were doing some weird shit on one of what I seen. The one that I seen, they were doing some weird shit. Like, it wasn't just some young kids twerking, where you'd be like, don't do that. They were doing some crazy shit that didn't need to be shown. So I think what it is, what I think it also is too, because we're selling it short. We're looking at just on the cover of it. I mean, just on the outer of it. This is a ploy by Netflix too, to be like, oh, I got to make some noise. I got to get my Tekashi on. I got to do something right here because maybe their numbers were down. So they might have had this sitting on the table for a minute and said, hey, man, our numbers ain't looking too good. Let's get it talking about Netflix for a minute.
Yeah, they could even sort off the controversy alone. You're right. Justin Gower says that he's offended that he hasn't been offered to get a chance to go on the show and twerk. Well, it's a movie, so. And then Edward said they didn't.
Oh, you're talking about
he's talking about the show. I was like, well, Justin, I hate to break it to you, but you don't really fit the demographic that they were trying to incorporate in that dance team. But Edward Edhart said they didn't show it. Bingo. We're all on the same team, but the showing it is the part I feel is inappropriate. You guys are killing it. Keep going. Thanks, Edward. We love you, man. And Mike Lather says they're humping the floor, shaking my head. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, and they were doing stuff that grown. I haven't strippers do in the club, in the back room, bro. Not even on the floor. Oh. In the back, in the champagne room, where you know what I mean, where they were doing some very weird shit for kids. It needs to go. I say, get it out of here. If that original person was doing it for that, they should have never sold the rights to it. They should have never okayed that shit.
Right. Well, but other people that make films. They might have sold the rights thinking that they had the full intention of just recreating the film better. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we'll put some money behind it and make your film even better. And then, of course, they perverted it and distorted it and, put it into something totally, absolutely different. And that happens all the time in Hollywood.
Don't give up the rights to your shit. Get the final okay, or get on the production team, which I know is hard, but sometimes you got to say no to some money. You know what I mean? If she said it was about her life, that's got to be whether there's two ways to look.
I do wonder if she had a hand in the new one. I wonder if she did have a hand. I'm going to go look into that here real quick while I'm looking here.
It could be she was okay with it, or she just gave up all of her rights. And if you gave up all your rights to a passion project, to me, you don't give up the rights to those ones. Those are the ones like Rocky. Like, remember when Rocky, when there's the story of Rocky, when Rocky was
Oh
made.
no, she had a hand in this.
Oh, well, there you go.
This
There you
is
go.
weird. Wait. Cuties director. I share the same fight as those condemning her film. You share the same fight as the people condemning your film, even though the marketing campaign was very gross. I'm confused. The
Yeah,
controversy
you can't.
started with that artwork. The most important thing is to watch the film and understand we have the same fight. That's what she said. So I guess according to this director, granted, I guess the marketing was off. We have to go watch this film to understand why it is being portrayed the way that it is.
Well, I'm not watching it.
I guess I have to go do. I guess I have to go do my due
Gotta
diligence
take,
and my homework.
gotta,
I don't know. It just feels like I can just look at it and say, ugh,
I
ugh.
don't want to watch. I don't
Yeah.
want to understand her. I don't want to understand none of that shit. I don't want anything to do with it. I just think people should be aware that that's out there, and it could somehow come across your kid's Netflix, and maybe you might not want them to see it.
Granted,
You know what I mean?
like if I go and I watch it, right, and it's like that movie, they use that as the cover. Like I think my problem with it is why would you use that as the cover of the movie? It'd be different if like you put on the cover that we're trying to. Everyone says they're unsubscribing Netflix, but the other day their stock was up. Money people love this shit. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
this is a ploy by them. I'm telling you, they sit in those rooms, and they say, "Oh, we're behind Apple this week. What can we do?" Like, this is a ploy that they always say. They might have had that in their holster for a while. Like, let's save this for a while. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. People, they look at it like some people are gonna unsubscribe, but I guarantee you, majority of people, I don't know how long it takes to get a view or a number on Netflix, but how long you got to actually watch it. But a lot of people went there and pressed it and said, what is everybody talking about? Whether they shut it off after 10, 15 minutes or, they watch the whole thing. So I don't know how those numbers work in streaming. Nobody really does, except these fucks.
Yeah, because they
what I
get all
mean?
those analytics. Yeah. So regardless, I guess I think where my final thought is with it is this: is that I guess because of my intellectual honesty that I would probably have to watch this film, that I would have to say, what is it? Is this an art piece that you're trying? I mean, regardless, the cover just had me dead. It's dead to rights wrong. Like, if you're gonna portray it as this is the problem, you don't put that at the front of the cover of the film. Like, that's just me. Like, you put it as somewhere else, like, what I mean, like almost like a drama. Like, you made it look, what they did with that title card to me, it looks like the cover of like one of those reality TV shows, like what the hell, the pageant queens, like the little girls and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like that glorifying kind of look. Like, that's just not right. Like, if you're gonna do it, you should have did it like that Contact movie or whatever. Like where it's like dramatized.
Right. It could have been, yeah. And then you just woke up every pedophile in America or the world.
Mhm.
Every pedophile in the world was like, bing, 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 when they seen that thing.
Yeah, they're like,
Gotta
well, I
go
know
to
what
Netflix.
I'm watching tonight.
I gotta go to Netflix. Fucking
Yeah.
creepers.
Ew.
Yeah, I can't deal with that shit. So what else you got? What you got?
Well,
Tell me something.
this was just some stuff I was looking through, some nerdy science news and everything. But apparently they believe that there could possibly be extraterrestrial life on Venus. There is a compound that Mike Lowther says, I can't bring myself to watch it. The clips I saw were too raunchy. I'd love to make a clear and fully educated statement about it, but it ain't happening. Yeah, Mike, like I said, like I want to be able to, but like there's a part of me, it's like I don't want to watch it. Let me know if it's an actually good movie. Well, honestly, I'm probably not gonna think it's a really great movie. Maybe I'll do a movie review or something. I don't know. Whatever you guys feel, I'll look into it. But regardless, anyway, life on Venus, guys. We have to keep it moving. What was I gonna say? Yeah. So apparently, recently, NASA scientists have found a compound in the atmosphere that they have no explanation for how it could get into the atmosphere. They believe it's a byproduct of microscopic organisms. So yeah, unfortunately, no, the lizard people are not on Venus. I know that's what you guys were hoping for. But microscopic organisms are there, kind of like how we have bacteria and algae and stuff that produce certain oxygen and different kinds of byproducts. It's the same concept. So they believe that these organisms exist within the upper limits of the atmosphere, producing this chemical, which is kind of neat, I guess. I mean,
So are they saying that is something that is a sign that life could be there? Is that what
yes,
I'm hearing?
a sign that life
That's a
could be
sign
there. They're
that,
not saying that life is there.
because yeah, you would have to, like we talked about. This was actually probably what, like one of our
It was
first or
like our
second
third. It was like our fourth episode or something.
fourth episode. We talked about that. See, we just don't know. We could be staring like those people that are finding these things could be looking at life and we don't know what it is because that's not it's not Earth.
Right, yeah, it's not. As I said, it's not our definition of what fits as life. But I think they just mean like because I think it's possible. I mean, not that we've seen it, obviously, but I mean, there's probably a possibility that other organisms could exist without being carbon based. I mean, there's just a high probability of it because carbon is like one of the most readily available and highly reactive substances in the universe. So it's easier for those chemical reactions to start to make life. So it's easier to have it's more feasible to have a carbon-based life form. But regardless, I don't know. It was some cool science news. I thought it was interesting. I was like,
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah,
don't punch your ticket to Venus. It's too hot.
I want us to find some life, man, because I'm getting fed up with the fucking people on this planet right now. I want to hang out with some aliens and smoke some alien bud and shit,
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah, they look
Right?
at you like, here, man, you want some of this? You just like die immediately because it's like
Yeah,
poison
'cause
to
it's
you.
like, they're like, "What's wrong with you, guy? It's nothing. We do this on the daily."
Daily. He's like, this ain't nothing, bro.
Hey,
Pass me
Mike,
the
if you're
kuka.
still out there, what the hell happened? I had your running back in my draft, and he screwed me. He screwed me yesterday, bro.
Ooh, don't even, bro. I got it. We
Mike,
do got to give a little. We got to cast a little shade over Mike's way because you lost to the Washington football team. They don't even got a name, man. They're just the Washington football team, and you lost. My guy. They were like destined to be trash. What happened? It was an implosion over there after that first half. Like, I mean, Carson Wentz was just rattled. The offensive line fell apart. Didn't he get sacked 8 times?
Yeah, you got beat up.
Listen, either the Eagles line is doo-doo or that Redskins pass rush is no joke. I kind of want to go with the latter.
The defense, the line is pretty good, but that and plus Ron Rivera is a good coach. He's probably got them playing at a way different level than they were last year. But their offensive line is trash, bro. It's trash. There's no doubt. You don't give up 8 sacks. You don't give up 8 sacks to the best line in the league, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? Nobody gives up 8 sacks, bro. That's just too much.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just one thing. I'm glad that's back on to give us a break from all the crazy shit that's going on. Like we're headed into the shit shows. It's getting liver every day. Remember you were talking to me about the other day. You were like, "Hey, man, we should go get some Biden signs and just go put them up and shit."
Right.
That's what they're doing all across in Pennsylvania. That was another thing I wanted to talk about too. They are destroying all Biden and signs. The reverse of what you were saying. There's so many people that are reporting that their signs are getting stolen. They're getting destroyed all over Pennsylvania. So that was something I read this morning. Actually, what somebody from back home in Erie. It has happened in the city of Erie, in the city limits, which I find like that takes some balls to rip somebody's shit off in the city limits, off their yard. You can get shot for that, yeah. You get shot for that. So
wow. Well, that just means when we go out and about next time, every time we see a Trump sign, we're pulling over.
Oh, bro, we're gonna end up in a war. We'll end up in a bro. I don't have to go far. I'm surrounded by it.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Like we're out and about. I mean, you could walk down the street. They're everywhere. You can't walk 5 steps. I guarantee you, if I walk down through this trailer court, there ain't one Trump sign.
There ain't one?
No, I'm saying I bet you that there ain't one. That there is not. I bet you that there is at least one. There we go.
I see 2 of them. Like a guy has a flag out, and I see one. I see 2 a day. Like when in my neighborhood, where if I'm bouncing around, I just see it, and I'd be like, yeah, I kind of want to just go jump out. But I'm not that guy. I just let people do whatever you want to do. Just don't get crazy. You know what I mean? don't come over messing, because there's some Biden signs over here too. If I catch you messing with one of them, I might shoot you in the ass with a pellet gun or something. I might bust you in the ass with a pellet gun. But yeah, that was just something I seen, like, because we were talking about it. What was that, Friday? And you said we should do that, and I'm like, and then it comes that's what's happened in reverse.
Yeah, well,
So
I mean, like, there's like all these initiatives and stuff that I kind of want to call the number and see what they're about. Like, you'll see something where it says like crusade, we need a crusade, and what was the other one I saw? Like, I don't know, some kind of party. Like they were getting together people to I like the electrified signs. What do you mean, like the ones like where you touch them, they shock the shit out of you, or you mean like the ones like
yeah.
the neon? Because if they make electrified signs, dude, like that's just overkill. Like people are just nuts. Like I
that would
wouldn't
be
buy.
that'd be I would have one if they were tearing everybody else's down and it was and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get one. And they said, yeah, you can have one if they touch it, electrifies it. Put it in my yard.
Put it in my yard. Someone
my
comes
yard.
over. Someone comes over to grab the Joe sign.
Put a camera up and just laugh and drink a beer.
Right.
Just have fun with it.
Sometimes you just gotta make your own entertainment out of it. You know.
Yeah,
The ones that
sure.
give you a seizure if you try to steal it. Right on. Yeah. Like I said.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Our plan was we weren't gonna steal them. My idea was I was like, Coach, let's just go put Joe Biden signs right beside every Trump sign we see. So every time you see a Trump sign, you put a Biden sign right beside it.
You just hop out and boom, boom, boom. We'd be at war because I'm not big at like sneaking no more. Like a hop out and hop back in, do it and hop back in. I'm just like stick it there, walk back.
You walk back to the car, you'd be like, fuck, and then you grab a cigarette, you're like,
they're gonna see us and they're gonna be like, hey, what did you do? And we're gonna get into it.
Right.
You might need to take some younger, agile motherfuckers with you on that mission, Dev. I'll drive.
Okay, you'll drive? Okay, if you drive, then I'll deliver the stuff. Okay.
I drive too slow, so that's not gonna work either.
He's like, I drive too slow. We would never get away. I'd be like, they'd be chasing after us on foot. I'd be like, Coach, they're catching us.
Yeah, and I'm driving like an old lady and shit.
You're like, hold on, I gotta make a turn. I'm like, Coach, they're literally beating my car with a bat right now. All right, hold on. Hand over hand like this.
Yeah,
like you're driving a boat and shit.
You don't want me to ever drive. Yeah, so it is what it is. I think we're seeing all kinds of things. There's all kinds of things that are popping. This is one thing I was interested. I was interested in those tapes. So 60 Minutes had Dude on yesterday, right? You know the tapes that he has of Trump, that he did that interview for the book, right?
Dude, who's Dude?
I forget his name. I don't know his name. The author dude, the reporter that made the book called Rage. That shit where he admitted about COVID. I know you had to hear about that. Where he said he downplayed COVID.
Right. Yeah. Well, Donald Trump came out and openly admitted that. Actually, I thought, like he was
it's on his tape.
Yeah,
it's on the tape. In March, he did it when he was saying it was a hoax.
Yeah,
and it's gonna go away. In March, he was saying that, bro. You know what I mean? When he was saying, yeah, it'll be gone by April. He said, I'm downplaying it, and he said, I'm always gonna downplay it. And I think so. The guy was on. I wanted to hear everything he was saying. Do you know that this man, everything else, like I expected him to say, but he said out of his mouth, he admitted it, that there is institutionalized and systematic racism in this country. Dude asked him. Yeah, he asked him, and he was like, "Well, hold on, let me finish." And he tried to go into his spin move where he's like, "Oh yeah, but he was like, not as much as in other countries." And he went off into that. And he said, "No, Mr. President, is there systematic and institutional racism?" And he said, "Yes, there is, not as much as I feel in other countries, and it's unfortunate." That's what the fuck he said. It's on 60 Minutes, on that tape, in his voice. And still, this is the funny part about it, though. This dude that I go back and forth, if I know him, he's a friend. He's one of those people that it doesn't matter. Everything's fake. He says to me, it's that they could have made that tape. I'd be like, so you're telling me a Pulitzer Prize winner is going to put his shit on the line just to spite Donald Trump?
Not only that, you're going to have to, and then also too, you're going to have to like coordinate with like us visual effects artists and like all kinds of stuff to like fake it, because you said it's on a tape, right? It's recorded.
They play everything he said. They played the tape. He's not saying no. He told me this. Here's the tape. And every time he had him on there, he said, "Oh, I'm about to turn on my recorder." And Trump acknowledges and says, "Yeah, okay." So he thought that this dude wasn't going to say anything. He says, "Well, imagine how many of those conversations that he has a day with saying things that are misleading and saying behind scenes." So what the point of that is like, and then being that he when he got on the phone with them, he said, "Hey man," because Trump wanted him to put something in there about the peace treaty with Israel. He's like, "Can you put this in the book?" He said, "I already sent it out. It's already published. It's already getting ready to go." And then he told him, "Hey man, you're not going to like my objectiveness on this book." And he started to tell him what it was on. 20 minutes later, what's his name's book that's coming out is all fake.
Really? That's funny.
Yeah.
But I
So
mean,
they
that's the
have
kind of stuff he would do, though. I mean, there's nothing like he's this is not like to me. This is almost not even news. I mean, that part is interesting, but
it is that part right there is interesting to me because people are won't believe it. They'll still say that's not there. But the man that you guys worship every word on just told you it is.
yeah. But he lies though all the time. I mean, they're like even in his campaign speeches and everything else. I mean, the man he speaks upwards of 1,000,000 lies, you know, and
Yeah.
and like I mean that interview he had with what's his face, the guy from well the one that he had on CNN or Fox, that one guy, that old dude, the guy looks like Ben Stein, you know. And then
Yeah.
there was that other guy for whatever, that big interview that they had during the COVID thing with that, there was that meme came out where the guy like looks at the paper and he's like, "Mr. President," doesn't even say that on this piece of paper. Like,
Yeah.
that's literally like the level he'll go to. He'll, on an interview, he will fakely hand someone a piece of paper and say, "See, look at this piece of paper. It doesn't say that." And then the guy looks at it and says, "No, it says this right here." He's like, "It doesn't say that at all." And he's like, "Oh, no, no, no." And he's like, show him the paper, show it. And then they have to keep moving because it's a gish gallop. There's only so many questions this guy can ask Trump and answer before the end of it, because if he tried to hold him to one answer, he would never get anywhere, and it's sad.
He would never get there. And I'm just saying that's where we're going with this. It's going to turn to a shit show, the whole thing. Like, it's just bad. Everybody's acting like everybody's at each other's throats over this bullshit. I'm trying to avoid it. That's pretty much what I say. I'm just gathering facts because when it's time to pull that lever, I got to pull that lever. So, you know what I mean? I'm trying to gather as many facts as possible and see where everything's at when it's time to pull that lever. So, but I just try to stay out of that bullshit because everybody is just, they're gone. And that brings another thing too. I wanted to say this because I want to be very clear about this because somebody disrespected me earlier by sending me some shit that I know this person from back in the day. We don't have conversations, but this person I'm not going to say their name. I already had the conversation with them. I got on the phone with them and, had to straighten that shit out. But they sent me something about those cops that were killed in Compton, or not killed. I don't know if they died, but I know they're in critical condition. They got ambushed. Somebody just walked up on their car and shot them in their car. A lady and a guy shot them all up, right? And this person sent me this and said, "This is what you support. This is what when you're saying Black Lives Matter." I said, "Bro, you never heard me say Black Lives Matter. For one, you heard me break it down on the show if you watched it, and if you did, you should have said something there. If you never said anything to me, but I broke that down thoroughly. I'm not attaching my horse to it. I'm down with anything that's going to bring light onto the community so we can do the work and get the help that's needed for the work that needs to be done. I'm all for that. But in no fucking way do I want anybody to be shot, bro. That's like an ambush, a cop, or any of that. In no way do I find that a victory for anything. You know what I mean? I feel bad for those people.
Right.
Because when I seen it, I only seen stills of it, but you could see that guy, whoever it was, walked right up to the car and shot him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to see that. That's not a victory, and that's not what the protest. No protester is happy about that. Of course, you're going to have a minority of people that are evil, and no matter what you're doing. No matter what you're doing, even in any cause you're in, even if it's good.
Or they take that cause to the extreme.
Yes, they're going to be doing some evil shit. And I had to break it down to him, too. I said, "Hey, man, if you want to be 100, I don't know what happened there. I don't know who that was. I know that's fucked up that happened to them. That's really fucked up. I'm not for that. But only thing I can say is during this protest that I know is a fact, The only cops that got killed since these protests and riots started got killed by far right wing, those Boogaloo boys that they caught that killed those 2 FBI agents and tried to make it look like it was Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about here? I had to have that conversation. I said, I'm glad you at least brought it to my attention, but the way you worded it, bro, it's kind of fucked up. After we had the conversation and broke it down, he was like, oh, I didn't kind of mean it. I was just kind of, I was like, you said that shit like I want cops to be killed. That's crazy. You are out of your mind if you think I want that.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. He was saying that if you support Black Lives Matter, this is what you support. And, there's people within the, just because all it is really, if you're someone who supports BLM, you're just, the statement isn't of it itself. If you're supporting the organization or whatever, that's totally up to you. When I say I support Black Lives Matter, it just means that I think that Black Lives Matter and that there is a disparity of an injustice system in this country that treats black people as if they do not matter, because they don't seem to get equal justice, and there are racial inequities that you can see within the justice system all the time. And their lives are treated less valuable than that of someone who maybe be white or Asian or whatever persuasion of race in this country, especially in the judicial system. That's it. That's all we're saying. That's it. I don't like anything else that comes on that horse and rides there. If you want to be that person who wants to go on the all cops are bad train and ride that bitch till the wheels fall off and all that shit, salute, salute to you. Do whatever you got to do. I ain't here for that. And just because that's the thing is people want to try and attach all kinds of things to a wagon whenever it was never even there in the first place. That's incidental. It doesn't even make any sense. There's no correlation there with it. And I think that's what it is. It's just the media. Again, these people like to claim that the media misrepresents things, but then they blindly follow the media misrepresentation of some sort of movement. They do
on the other side. They just go to the other side for their information.
Yeah.
And that they're doing the same thing. So yeah, you just got to do your research. You got to do what the guy did that my neighbor did. Ask. Go talk to some people.
That was what I was going to say.
Go find out for yourself. Don't pass judgment on people. Nobody wants to see some mother get shot because of her job. Nobody wants to see that. Is there a small portion of people that is in everything? It's not just this. There's going to be people that have ill intentions and they're hiding. They're a wolf in sheep clothes. They're hiding amongst a movement and doing shit like that. Yes, there is people like that, but the overall goal is nothing like that. Nobody wants that to happen.
Yeah, again, it's another example would be something like terrorist organizations, like Muslim terrorist organizations. For one, we don't even talk about those anymore. Everybody seems more concerned about these domestic terror organizations that have maybe killed, and whereas the Al Qaeda, if I'm not mistaken, Al Qaeda after the events of 9/11 has quite a death toll on anybody that was ever in BLM. Killed many a soldier, many a person. And, many an innocent person. We got bombers. We got all those people. We got domestic terrorists, during school shootings. Remember those? Remember whenever school was a thing? Remember when school was a thing? And then, we had a shooting at a school, at least 3 times a year where, you'd have, 5 kids dead. Remember that? Right. Yeah, but those guys were apprehended and, they were surrendered and taken to jail very nicely and politely.
Right.
Again, these are the things that I look at and I say, why are we so worried about this? Everything's so focused on this little tiny thing, and that they fail to see the bigger encompassing picture. And I think what it says, what you said was very important. It starts with, I don't think it's doing research is definitely the part of that, but I think at first you have to ask yourself the question. You have to ask yourself the question, what is this thing? What is it? What is BLM? What does it really mean? And then look into it from there and get the answers.
And you got to also understand, people got to also understand this also too. The gist of the community where these problems are coming, BLM is not, the people that are out there protesting, the majority of them are not from the community that is being affected by the police. Let's get that understood. That people seem to forget that that's why they don't know what they're talking about. People in the communities that are affected are not at BLM protests. You know what I mean? Like that. It's not. It's not a big majority of that community that's being affected. It's mostly college kids You know what I mean? It's college kids doing the things that college kids done all the life. Vietnam, all that stuff. That's what college kids do. It's mostly that. I'm not going to say there's not some from there. There is. I understand that, but it's not a majority of the people from the community that are actually in the community dealing with these issues. That's the problem that people don't understand. So you just got to figure that stuff out. Now, when I was bringing that up, I'm saying the most important thing that I'm seeing, bro, is the temperature of what's going on right now. What's really going on right now is bad. It's bad because of what's happening and how it's going to turn out. Because it's like I said, them bad people are going to do things, and that's going to make bad cops do bad things too. They're going to go want revenge, and they're not even those like how the cops thing is. If you kill a cop, bro, like this is the comparison. If you kill a cop, every cop in this country is united, right? So vice versa, when you kill somebody from the neighborhood, people get tired. All communities are going to come together and try to fight back. They're going to do it once they get fed up. It's the same process. Now, if you get something like this that happened in Compton, where those sheriffs got shot up and the whole story back, it's going to cause retaliation from the police. The bad police are going to do some fucked up shit to some innocent people. Then we're going to go back and forth. Because the way I see it, that shit was malice, bro. That wasn't that person was looking deliberately to walk up and pop those cops. That wasn't no situation that arose. They went specifically to do that. And that's not good, bro. That's not good for everybody else walking around here. Protesters out there, just people walking down the street, or young guys walking around in the street. It's not good. Not good at all. So,
well, Edward Arhartz says that cops have a level of immunity when they're on duty and it needs to be changed. Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about that. That's a horse that is, not only has it been dead and we have beaten it to death on this show, not only is it beaten to death, it is rotting. It is falling apart on this show. Like we've talked about that in depth many a time. But
got to be aware, man. People got to be aware and start making, be aware of what your kids are doing, young kids and all that. And I'm not saying every fucking cop out here is going to do something. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there is cops that will do some shit because of that. And that they don't have to be in Compton. It doesn't have to be in Compton. So be careful. That's all I had.
Yep.
Got anything else, bud?
Well, I did want to bring up one last thing to end on maybe a little bit of a lighter note, was our research on the butt babies thing.
Shit.
So
bro,
I popped over at Coach's house, and he was like, I got some things, bro, I got to talk to you about. And I'm like, what do we got to talk about? He's like, listen, bro, butt babies. I said, what? He's like, I don't know if it's true. He's like, but I heard that there was this article that said they had the first rectal birth. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, you're serious? He's like, yeah, you should have seen my face. Like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I couldn't believe it. And like, the thing is, it was such a huge, bold-faced, crazy thing. I actually believed it. I was like, babies from the butt. Okay, wow, butt babies. Right. And then Coach eventually did the research, and obviously it wasn't true. But who would want to have a baby out of their ass? Like, even if you're like a gay person and you wanted to have kids, and like you were like, I want to have my own baby, like putting it up your ass, like an embryo. How could you even? It doesn't even seem possible. I don't know. My head hurts. Ow.
I can't have no boot. I can't. I think that's too far. Having booty babies, even if it was true, bro. If it was true, that would have been my stance on it. That's going way too far. That's going. You could do what you want. It's your body, your life, and everything. But I can't sit behind and say, yeah, guys, you do that. No, I'm gonna have an argument for that one. That's crazy. But the reason why it came up to be to me that I thought it was true is because somebody like Summer Walker, who's a singer, she usually posts credible things. That's why I thought it was credible, and I didn't get a chance to research it. So I was like, oh my god, this has got to be. Well, I'm on to something. This is on. We got one in the tank to get on that nobody's really talking about. So, but it came out that she got dragged for sharing it. So it was a bad. So. And they broke it down. It was one of those satire sites that actually put it out and all that bullshit. So, but gross. Again, that's too far. That's going too far. Yeah, that's going too far. Just go stick with
adopt.
Adopt. Yes.
Adopt. Tons of kids out there. If you can't have kids, adopt.
Like okay, you'll save somebody's life with that,
Yeah.
with adoption, because there's a lot of kids out there that don't get it.
And you ain't gotta get no baby loving juice
Coming out your
shoved
ass.
up your ass. Yeah.
You
All
ain't got a
right.
baby coming out your ass. That'd be like what was that? What was that? Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura. Yeah, with the rhino. Yeah, right. The rhino, like there's like an arm coming out of it. Oh
Don't
man.
do booty babies.
No booty babies.
No
But
booty
Edward Earhart, this is a good way to end the show. He says, "You guys are fantastic. I enjoyed watching and will again. Coach B, you are the man, but be careful with those chopsticks. I kept jumping away from my computer screen. He kept thinking you were going to hit him with them."
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for watching.
All right, guys, we are out of here. Also, by the way, we did make a new Facebook group. If anybody feels like they want to be invited to it, it's the open floor where we have people can post up their topics and things of discussion. You shoot our page a message or leave a comment here, and we'll get you added in. Outside of that, I don't think I have anything else, Coach. We are out of here. So
Yes.
stay beautiful, take care of yourselves, and have a great rest of your night. And go Giants. I'm just kidding.
Don't do it. I'm about to play my air drums.